right, welcome everyone. I'm Norman Kinsey with Real Estate vs. Technology on another new episode. We have our co-host, Mr. Dan Gandy. Welcome, Dan.
Hello all. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Welcome to Real Estate vs. Technology. Well, you'll get the inside scoop from top producing real estate professionals all around the country, best practices, techniques, and learn about what technology they're using to drive to ensure their success in this world we call real estate. And we have Ashley with us from San Francisco, California. Welcome, Ashley, to the show.
Hi, great to be here. Love to spread some knowledge.
Hey, that's what we want to do here. Give back to this real estate community and spread some knowledge, talk some tech. So let's get into a little bit more about you. So what areas you serve, how long have you been in the business, and what made you get into the business? They kind of all go together.
Yeah, so I serve mainly the Bay Area. I have an emphasis in San Francisco, but I have done some deals in the peninsula, over in Vallejo. I've even gone as far as Placerville. That was kind of like a family deal. I've been in the business 3 years. It's been quite a whirlwind. My background is in hospitality and graphic design. So it's pretty awesome to bring those to kind of a new career as I entered my late 20s and decided to jump into the world of real estate. What got me here was actually an ex-boyfriend's mother of mine is a big real estate agent over in Alameda. And she said she saw something in me. And I would watch her, and I loved the way she handled herself and her life. And she was just this boss woman, and was such an inspiration to me that I decided to take that leap of faith and become a realtor. And it's been an amazing journey so far.
Wow. That's a good story.
That is a really good story. Oh, it's always nice when someone else sees something in us and we're like, okay.
Yeah. And I mean, the fact that, she was such a muse and like I said, a boss woman that I would hope to see myself in her age.
That's awesome. You're going to get there. You're going to get there before you know it.
That's great. So I know you've been in the business a few years. Why don't you tell me, is your business primarily working with buyers and sellers? How many transactions maybe have you done? Just share a little bit of information about the brass tacks of what you're doing in the business right now.
For when you start out, typically you kind of start with a lot of buyers first, kind of getting to know the lay of land transaction process. My first year, I think I probably closed about 8 to 10 deals.
Wow.
It was a busy year. I partnered myself with a mentor, which I found extremely helpful, to be able to kind of ask questions, make sure that I'm not doing anything wrong. If I am doing something wrong, what's a way to fix it and try and make it less wrong. So it's been fun. Each year I try to aim about 10 to 12, especially in my starting out years. But always strive for more. But I'm happy where kind of the path has taken me.
Awesome.
And
then in terms of tool sets, I know you made a little crafty list of everything that you use. So why don't you share maybe a couple categories and then the tools within that hierarchy that could be of benefit to all our listeners and viewers?
Yeah. So over the years, you pick up different techs that you use day to day, and then I was saying to you guys, I honestly forget how many I use on a day-to-day basis. The first thing I actually do in the morning is log into Google Suite. That's probably the main source that I use to keep track of everything that I do. Obviously utilizing those things in there, Sheets, Google Drive, Google Docs, Google Calendar. That is my life. Probably first thing I check is my Google Calendar in the morning. And then after that, a good CRM is a huge benefit. I started off with Contactually. Compass bought Contactually, so we switched to a different one. I'm still in the process of finding a new CRM that I truly love. Kind of bouncing around different ones right now. I just started Boomtown, which a lot of people are very interested in. Luckily, my brokerage, I'm on their Boomtown team, and so we all use that as our CRM as well, and trying to incorporate new leads and my actual leads versus Boomtown leads, things like that. So I use that as a lead generator. Super awesome. I also use that as a marketing tool as well, which is pretty great because you have your own search tool that you can give to new leads to watch what they look for, kind of what they put in their own parameters, and keep an eye on them, which is really big brother, but awesome. And then I also, right, you have to make sure that, make sure you're on top of it. And then some connections that I use for Sphere and social media is huge right now, especially during SIP, where we couldn't kind of go face to face with each other and take, go out to coffee, is trying to get in front of them in their computer. So using Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn were huge. And I definitely learned a lot these last few months about advertising and retargeting, which I'm still in the process of learning and in the process of actually doing, which is pretty cool to see where that can happen.
Yeah.
For organization as well, I've just started doing a task manager. It's called ClickUp. I think it's fantastic, especially for listings. I've been finding myself doing more listings as of recently because the inventory has just taken a dramatic leap. Yeah. And that really helps me kind of stay organized within myself, timeframes, and making sure that my client is aware of what is happening. Other than that, just keep learning and making sure that you're on top of, what's happening in your market. San Francisco Association of Realtors is pretty awesome. We do have one of the higher kind of quality, I guess, of associations. They give us a lot of tools, which is wonderful, and we pay for them. But I use that a lot. InfoSparks, their market reports. They give a bunch of webinars, and we talk about new products coming out through there. So I'm very lucky to be a part of that as well, which helps my content curation, which is where my graphic design background comes in, and I find so fun, and I probably spend way too much time doing it.
At least the stuff looks good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right? I know, and so I have colleagues that, hey, can you help me with the logo? Can you fix this for me? But some of those content curation things are Canva, which has been such a big thing for realtors. I also use Illustrator for myself because I know how to use that, Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop. And then I also use this thing called, what was it? It's a new one. Had it down here. Where did it go? But I had Animoto. Oh my goodness. I found this amazing little video site because, as you know, everyone loves to watch videos. Yep. And it's wonderful. And it's probably my new favorite thing, where you can just upload it, embed it, share it, and they have stock. It's amazing. I highly recommend agents to check that out, which I've really been utilizing as of late.
Wow.
It's really cool. Thanks for sharing all those tools. That'll help our audience.
Yeah.
Definitely. That is amazing. And to case in point on the image side, they say perception is at the forefront of your success. So like, you have a good perception, hey, it starts the ball getting going there.
Exactly. And so it just, I personally just need to be better at time blocking, because I definitely get sucked into the curation or, looking at new apps and new technology. So it's definitely something that you can lose yourself in.
Oh, yeah. These are the years to do it, though. If you're going to do it now, flush everything out, get your systems in place.
Right. That's a huge thing. And that's also something I've been working on SIP, is trying to figure out what's the best way to be in control of my business.
Wow. That's awesome. So I think she covered pretty much all the questions here. I mean, that
was great.
Sorry.
No, you went beyond and above, and that's huge. I love it when our guests actually go through the questions, already have them together, and they're like, okay, let me just get through this. So, that's awesome. So you've been in the business a couple of years, you're doing pretty well, you have the mentorship, your branding, everything's looking good, you're working on everything, time blocking is a big one. So now, what's your goals, or where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Next 5 years, my goals are to at least double what I'm doing right now in the next 5 years.
Nice.
By then, my goal is to have my system down, working with hopefully a team of people. I think teams are the new generation of realtors.
Yeah.
Just because everything that we have to handle now is kind of out of our reach and is kind of unattainable on a 24-hour basis to do what we need to do. So having a team behind you and with you is huge. So I find myself part of a pretty medium-sized team. And I definitely see myself more on the listing side.
Okay.
I love project management. I love advertising and marketing. I love being the coordinator between all the vendors and making a house look beautiful. And so I definitely see myself on the listing side.
That's cool. I love how you're seeing where you're good at, your strong suits, and then be able to really delegate and move forth in that regard.
I wanted to touch on a point that you brought up because I was just talking about this with a friend. As real estate agents get busier and busier and busier, they have more and more volume, and they have more and more project management that they have to handle. And we see a lot of times in different states where you need to have high volume in order to make a relatively stable income versus other areas like LA, New York, San Francisco, where you can sell 12 houses a year and do well for yourself and be able to manage the flow of communication. I always say to everyone, it's not really about volume to me that impresses me. It's about what your customers are saying about you, because you can sell 500 homes, but everyone's just cookie cutter. And at the end of the day, you just turn and burn. But if you're a really good agent and I can look at your reviews and I see a good client experience and you make good money, that's way more important in this industry, I think. And building a team around that is crucial, and reinvesting into the real estate business.
Exactly. And, I hope to reinvest more than, again, double that I'm doing now into the business. And that's, as you reinvest in yourself, that shows how much you believe in yourself. If you're not putting money into your business and building your own, building yourself up, why even do it?
Yeah. We see it a lot. People don't even hey, I don't have $50 to put into my website. And how do people find you?
Yeah. Right. That was something I did during Shelter in Place. I finished my website, and I'm so happy that I have a place where I can drive people to.
Yes.
And, on different forms, and just retargeting and getting their information, having somewhere that, you can search my name and it pops up.
Exactly.
I don't know why agents don't have their own websites.
You're light years ahead.
Hopefully.
Being proactive, right? Like you said, COVID-19, there's this downtime. Let's work on my marketing. Let's work on my website. Let's work on automation with tech.
Exactly.
So when you're back in the field, networking, doing how we met at a networking event right before all this hit in the city. And then it's just here we are. Let's take advantage of this opportunity with Zoom and podcasts like this to be able to share some knowledge and share the wealth. And so good for you. Yeah, you're definitely light years ahead. So we wish you massive success.
Thank you.
So we'll look back. We have this podcast, and we can have you on again, and we'll look back and
before and after.
Yeah.
So we're getting closer to the end of the show now. A couple last questions. I know Dan has one, and then we have a couple last ones before we end the show. So go ahead, Dan.
Yep. This question is always my favorite. It goes out, and I'm sorry, I'm so scripted every single time I bring this up, but this industry has a lot of competition. And I think I always ask every person we have on this show that, what is the one piece of advice or golden nugget that you could share that if somebody got licensed tomorrow and they're fresh, new on the block, they don't know anything about this business other than what they've learned in testing and maybe what they've seen on TV and talked to a few people, what would you say is the piece of advice you could give them as they start their career?
I would say find a mentor. Find a mentor. I've actually had multiple newer agents after I started come to me and so what did you do? I go, I was blessed to have someone who I admire, and him and I work really well together, and we're still working well together 3 years later, to stand by me and make sure that, there was someone there to hopefully catch me when I fell. Whether it's your broker, partnering, making sure you have an awesome broker to go to, or, just a more, experienced agent. Yeah, experienced agent. I didn't want to call her older agent because they're usually not older. Sorry. Seasoned agent, that you fit well with, and learn from them. Watch their processes. Watch how they talk to people. That was a big thing for me. And maybe you work with them for a long time. Maybe you just move on or become your own agent. Totally depends on your career path. But I think partnering with an agent up front and watching them work is crucial.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think not a lot, but the last couple of the guests that we had, they said, stay away, don't get into the industry. I love
No.
or hard work and all those type of things. But I love how you said, find a mentor, find a coach, find someone that's been there, done that, because that way, instead of taking 5 to 10 years, you could take maybe 2 to 4 to have more success quicker, which it sounds like you've already have done as such. And another thing too, I think that new agents should think about is if you're a younger agent and social and tech, and the average age of an agent is 57, that gives you a competitive advantage, which you already said. They're asking about brand. They're asking about this. They're asking about that. So there you go. Hey, you coach me. I want to know everything you know. I'll coach you, and you'll know everything I know. We'll come together and have a perfect marriage, which I think you already have.
Exactly. For like literally the other day, we just got our own gimbal to make awesome little quick shoots of our listings. Yep. And my partner was like, here, you can go use it, figure it out, and then come teach me. Like, okay.
That's so cool. That's awesome. And I love tech. I'm sure you probably like tech. So it's like second nature for us.
Yeah. I was like, absolutely. I was like there for like 2.5 hours trying to figure it out.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. I got to make sure all the measurements are good and everything else.
Right.
So a couple last questions, books, podcasts, anything that you read or watch that helps you with this process of becoming a top producing team lead real estate professional.
Ooh, I am so big on podcasts.
Nice.
Especially bigger on audiobooks because we find ourselves in the car all the time.
Yes.
And that is the one time that I get to spend and not be on the phone in front of a computer, and I get to listen to someone put knowledge in my head. As of late, I just started reading. I actually have it in a hard book and audiobook, but Fanatical Prospecting, amazing. Prospecting. Really awesome. Literally slaps you in the face with knowledge and puts you in your place. Like, oh, you haven't been doing this? This is what you should do. And then like, oh, you're not time blocking. You're, and it's literally, I've read the chapters over and over again in my car. Amazing book. Love it. Probably going to read that at least once a year, continuing. Okay. The other book I started reading mainly because of what's been happening in the world is The Color of Law, which is a wonderful book. It talks about the prejudices and discriminatory practices that America has taken on Black and colored people, and it's eye-opening. And San Francisco's not immune to it. In fact, the first chapter is about San Francisco. And so it's really interesting to see the housing practices back in the 40s and 50s and see where we came from. And so I think that's a stunning book that I think every realtor should read.
Wow. That's yeah, because you need context. You need a reference point. Okay, this is where we were, this is where we are, and this is where we're going. So then we can always continuously move forward. And I love how you said you read some chapters over again, because it's amazing how you can read something again and then catch a completely different point or golden nugget, and you're like, why didn't I catch that before? Maybe because you're in a different place in your life now, something different's changed. Wow, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for those 2 books. And to part of the show, where floor is yours. So is there anything that you want to have our listeners and viewers hear from you, whether it's another gold nugget, something you're working on, a new listing? Go ahead, floor is yours.
Yeah, I mean, something that I love to reach out to, especially I find myself working with a lot of millennials, people my age, is that, home ownership isn't hard. It is hard. It definitely is a job to attain it, but it's doable. And planning is a huge important of it. And talking to a realtor is the first step. I know it may seem daunting and just like you're going on a date or something like that, but talking to a realtor, even just to understand what is in the process, so you don't feel as if it's, this heavy weight on you, to understand the transaction process, what goes into an offer, how's the housing market, what's the loan rate, we have all these different connections that we can help you with. And that's my goal, is to, in my job day to day, is to give that information, to be that resource for people. Whether you buy a house with me or not, I'm here to talk to you. What I've been doing a lot of Zoom meetings, a lot of Zoom introductions, discovery meetings. And I hope that, what my goals are is just to educate people.
It's awesome.
That's awesome. No, thank you so much for that. And my wife and I just bought a house, and that's the first thing we did. And her sister was a realtor, so it's part of the family. But definitely, to say what you're saying and to give some context from someone that just went through it, like, don't be scared. You're so true. All right, just go for it. Make a phone call, make it happen. And Ashley seems like a perfect person to reach out to.
You got to climb Mount Everest, and once you get to the top and then you're finally coming back down, you're like, okay, I did it. This was great, but I don't want to do it for a few more years.
Exactly, right? But then you understand the process and how it goes through, and and you're just more prepared, which is my goal for everyone.
Yeah, so true. Well, Ashley, thank you so much for being our special guest today and putting all this knowledge out there. And we love to have different real estate professionals from different standpoints, and it just gives a new fresh perspective. So we wish you massive success. Thank you so much for being on the show. We really appreciate it.
Thank you guys. It's so much fun.
Of course. And Dan, thank you so much for co-hosting.
Always. Thank you.
And thank you so much for our listeners and viewers. We hope you found something from today's podcast episode that you can apply to your business so you can have more massive success. And we'll see you on the next one. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. We hope you found value and took something you can apply to your business today. Be sure to join our community on Facebook, Real Estate vs. Technology, all spelled out. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We would appreciate it. It's Real Estate Tech. And of course, if you or someone else would like to be a part of our show, just go ahead and send us an email. It's reversetechtalk@gmail.com, and we'll see you next week.